it's your boy Ancient Albatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew -1. Unfortunately, our good buddy Dean is over at Gen Con having a great time. We might see him sometime over the weekend with a little impromptu stream so we can get some updates. But as of now, he's chilling in his hotel room eating, hopefully watching the stream here. But we have my lovely co-host or host, whatever you want to call him, Spigs18. Anthony's with me. And just as a reminder, if you haven't, please follow us here on Twitch and subscribe to us over on YouTube. It is a great help to us, and we really appreciate it. But Anthony, what are we doing here tonight?
Oh, tonight we have a very special guest. We have Donald, aka the solo RPG guy. You know, Donald has an excellent YouTube channel, and after you watch the stream, definitely go subscribe to him there, where he talks about all sorts of RPGs, from a very popular to some indie and obscure systems, but he primarily concentrates on solo play, but also tackles other tabletop topics if that's what you're interested in. He runs a Facebook group dedicated to solo play, and we're here to learn about solo play, and hopefully he can give us some tips on solo play using the Cypher system. So Donald, or the solo RPG guy, whatever you want us to call you, we'll do that. But welcome to the CU.
Well, thank you for having me. I just became a recent subscriber to you guys, and literally, I just love y'all's channel. Y'all are great, and I know y'all like to push, teaching people about the Cypher system. And thanks to your influences on me, I actually got into the Cypher system and absolutely love it. It's like it quickly moved to the top of one of my favorite RPGs to play solo.
That's awesome.
I'm just glad to be here to chit chat with you guys.
Yeah, awesome. So let's dive right in here. And so first question, welcome. Well, firstly, welcome. Thank you again for coming on, like Anthony said. But can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your tabletop experience as a whole?
Well, I was introduced to D&D back in 1984, so I've been playing, 30 some odd years. I had the great advantage of actually, though, joining the military and getting away from that group of people. And then while I was in the military, I was exposed to a bunch of different people. So therefore that brought, different visions and different ideas into the gaming type community. And taking all that information, it was just like awesome. I've been playing for 38 years, and it was primarily basic D&D, first edition, second edition. I haven't cracked a third edition book in over a decade, but I still have almost 90% of that memorized, because that was like the big campaigns that we had. That was all third edition. I did a little fourth edition. I did one short fifth edition. I've dipped into the Palladium games, not Cyberpunk, but Shadowrun. And then when the situation where I moved over to solo, I'm ashamed to tell you that somewhere packed up all throughout this apartment, I probably got 30 or 40 RPGs that I've dipped my toes in. So if you name an RPG system, I'm just going to sit there and shake my head. Yep, I know it.
Trust me.
Or I'm at least somewhat familiar with it.
I have that same problem. I have no problems buying RPGs, but don't have the time to play them all. So I wind up having, like, either you read it and be like, oh, this is cool, and then you never get back to it, and that's sad.
Well, I can honestly say that every RPG I've ever bought, I've at least sat down at least once and tried doing it solo. So I mean, I've rattled my head and like, what is this guy talking about? This rule don't make any sense. Oh wait, this is awesome.
Before I get into my next question, first off, thank you for your service. I work in a military museum. I'm operations director for a military museum, so I have utmost respect for everyone that puts their life on the line for our freedom. So thank you for that. And it amazes me how so many people I know that were in the military role played overseas and or either got their start role playing in the military or converted a bunch of people into role playing through the military. So it's always awesome to see that you know, all our servicemen and women are out there, you know, chucking funny shaped dice. So that's pretty awesome. So
But Anthony, before we move on to your next question, I do want to ask because he said you could name a system and he's probably tried it, and I'm gonna name one just because it's one I've been wanting to try. Have you played any Lancer?
Answer.
It's an indie
Kudos to
RPG.
you. Kudos to you. Just tripped me up. I've never heard of it.
Ha! Look it up. It's like a mud and dirt. I think they describe it as a mud and dirt mech RPG. It's like rules light. I have read the rules lightly. It's about you customize your mechs and it's like it's cool. It's really cool. Look into it. It's super cool.
You made Al's day.
Here's one for you. I served in Desert Storm, and after all the ruckus was over, we had like this 3-week period where we were just sitting around, you know, twiddling our thumbs, doing nothing. So a bunch of us did get together, and we were playing D&D in the back of a 5-ton vehicle. We had no books, we had no dice, so people would take scissors and cut up the MRE packets, write numbers on them, and one canteen cup was our D4 cup, one canteen was our D6 cup, and the DM's like, well, we got no books, so whatever I say go, and you all can't argue about it, and besides, then he pull up his rank and say, yeah, I'm the highest ranking guy here, you do what I say. All right, boss.
Donna, you wanna hear something funny? I heard that same exact story with paper, but substitute military for prison. They weren't allowed dice. So what they used was they had the D&D books, but what they used was you know, paper in a hat to every time someone had a roll.
Yep. Been there.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
I mean, after all, we were sitting there for 3 weeks, just twiddling our thumbs. It's like, come on, let us go home. Job's done. But no, we had to sit out there in the middle of the desert and cook. So
that's awesome. So
right.
Your channel's well known for its solo, you know, all your videos are directed about solo play. So for someone that isn't familiar with solo play as myself, right? Can you break this down? How does it exactly work for us, you know, that are not familiar with it? And what exactly is an emulator?
Well, obviously in today's day and age, it's always hard to get that group of people around the table. So in my case, this is my little story. My group, obviously, life got in the way and the group fell apart. One of my best players, his wife got sick. Guy had a job change. All of a sudden, my job changed, and I couldn't keep up with, you know, a regular schedule. I was sitting over there, and I was looking at all my books, and they were collecting dust, and I was getting all upset. Like, wow, there's got to be a way to play this stuff solo. And of course, every edition of the DMG has those random charts in the back where you roll random room, random monster, random treasure, random room, random monster. And it got boring real quick. It's like, there's no story behind this. Like, why is there 3 goblins in one room, a dragon in another room, and a specter in the third room? They're not supposed to be working together. So I'm sitting there, I was trying to figure out a way to generate a narrative. That's what we're all trying to do, right? We're trying to create stories. And I could sit there and I had a couple of board games and I would use pieces, parts, try to generate a story, but nothing was working. So what happened, I happened to come across a guy doing a video on what's called the GMA cards. Strangely enough, I didn't realize it at the time, but when he was doing his demo, he was using the Cypher system. Oh. But anyway, I'm sitting there. I tried using my D&D books, but D&D, especially 3rd edition, got too many moving parts to keep track of. So I just went on drive-through, found me some simple, easy-to-play game, got my hands on these cards, and I was like, I need to find a way to generate a story. I watched that video over and over and over again. And all of a sudden, as I was messing around with these cards, it started happening. A story started developing. The NPC that I thought was just going to, you know, another random combat wound up being a friendly NPC. I'm sitting there goofing around and, oh, the cards have indicated I've come across a trap. Well, what kind of trap is it? 30 seconds ago, I didn't know I was going to run into a trap. Story started developing. So I'm sitting here looking at these cards, and in comparison to what was out on YouTube at the time, there was no one out there to show anyone how to generate narratives doing, playing a game solo. So I figured someone needs to be a crazy and idiot enough to go out there and start a blog or a YouTube channel on the subject. And then the next thing I know, I decided I'd be that crazy idiot. I grabbed my cell phone. I went and got some cheap off the internet video software and just started my channel. And in your case, you're a Cipher head. I know you're a Cipher head. My best recommendation for you right now would be to go to DriveThruRPG, type in Cypher System Solo. There's already a GM emulator and NPC monster generator on there, and it's like $5 for each. Read that, and it'll at least get you started. And if you still have problems, the channel I recommended to you before, Me, Myself, and Die, go watch him for an hour or two, and you'll be on your way. It's that simple. All you have to do is, I'm gonna steal one of Dean's words. It's a mindset. It's a paradigm shift. Once you figure that out, because I can't teach you that aspect, because I don't know what your experience is, and I know you're a New Yorker, so you're hard-headed. I know that. it might take I might have to actually come up there to New York, sit you down, and say, okay, this is how we do it.
You got me there. You got me pegged there, Donald. I'm definitely hard-headed.
So that's what I mean. There is no actual way. The best demo, though, online is Me, Myself, and Die. If you can't figure it out from there, you shouldn't be playing role-playing games in the first place.
Are there many emulators out there, and are the emulators specific towards like game systems, or the good emulators, or are they like generic?
Well, actually, you got a little bit of both. The monster in the room that most solo RPG players know is the Mythic system. Now, there is a book, but I'm a card freak, so I got the cards. But if you go on to DriveThruRPG and just type parts per million, there is a gentleman who creates little GM emulators for just about every popular game. I remember there's one for Simba Room, Savage World, Dungeon World. You name the big gamers, he's probably got a solo emulator. And here's the best thing about these emulators. They're like 15 pages long. And you know how when you hit that preview item on DriveThruRPG, you only get the first few pages? On his, you get all the pages. All thing you got to deal with is that little sample page there. You can read the whole thing and see if it works for you. If that's something you want, support the guy. And if it's not what you're looking for, move on to something else. But go watch Me, Myself, and Die. He gives you a complete class on how to use this. He even has a supplemental video that will break it down for you. If you can't figure it out, your two brain cells aren't working.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's cool to see that it seems so accessible, even though it seems pretty niche as far as like gaming stuff goes. It's nice to see that there is that support, that like kind of subset of a community within the community. It's nice.
When I started this trek, there was only 2 YouTube channels and almost nothing on DriveThruRPG. Now I'm probably a subscriber to 50 plus channels on YouTube. All these little other people coming in, and like I said, DriveThruRPG, there's tons of solo stuff now. It's almost like it's a new paradigm shift. People are realizing, after the wreck that was 2020, a lot of people were like, they were kind of forced. If I want to play a game, I guess I better learn how to play solo. Otherwise, I'm not playing.
Yeah, there's definitely a mood there when it comes to scheduling and whatnot. But yeah, we've talked a bit about solo RPGs, how you got into it a bit. But a question we have here is, do you still play group play at all? And if you do you DM, or are you a player? And if you DM, do you incorporate any of these random tables in that DM style?
Ever since I became a soloist, I haven't GM'd only because of life situations. Now, I would like to be in a group. When I was in a group, I was primarily the GM. And I would think that my solo play experience actually makes me a better GM, because every GM sooner or later has that senior moment, that brain fart. They don't know where to go or what to turn to. Well, I've got so many I got so many things at my disposal now, and this is just a small portion of it, that if I don't have that problem anymore, while the players are talking, all I got to do is secretly grab a card or chart, flip to it. Oh, I already got the next hour's worth of stuff ready now. Boom, gone. But yeah, I'm usually stuck as the GM. Even when a campaign ends and the people we're getting around like who wants to DM next, all fingers point at me. It's like, oh, really, dude? I just want to play. Can I play once, please? I just want to play.
That's very interesting. That why do you feel that being a solo GM helps you in group play? Because I'm really curious about that, because I could definitely see your point. Because since you're using the emulated cards, right? You're gonna we love improv, and it's essentially showing you how to think quick on your feet, because whether you want to admit it to it or not, every time you use those random charts, or at least for me personally, it shows me how to analyze it in my head faster when I need to come up with something quickly. So yeah, I'm just curious, is there anything else that you think helps you with being a soloist, helps you with GMing a full group table?
Well, one of the things I was watching one of your videos, and Dean mentioned it specifically, the fact that I get to experience and experiment with all these other systems and broaden the horizons. I mean, I hate to say this about the guy. He's a good friend of mine, but the guy who introduced me to D&D back in 1984, he's only played D&D first edition. He is so narrow-minded. It's like, dude, there's other game systems out there. There's other trains of thought. Me and his son sat down and was trying to explain to him Shadows of the Demon Lord. And the whole time he just looked like a deer in headlights going, what? Only 10 levels? What? You get a level after every session? What? It didn't. So now that I have all these other systems at my disposal, and not only do I have the systems, but I will also watch like interviews with the people who make the system. What was their design philosophy behind it? Oh, now that rule that didn't make sense to me now makes sense. I see why he did it. Oh, okay, cool. So all that rolled together, I've broadened my horizons. I got so many games underneath my belt. Different RPG systems are always rattling in my head. So
before I ask my next question, you mentioned something. How do you level in solo play? Is it do you use milestone leveling, or do you actually accumulate points like experience points to level?
It's your game. There's no right or wrong way to solo RPG. The philosophy I have, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. So if you're one of those people that got to go buy the book, that it says you get an XP for this and an XP for that, fine. But if you're one of those GMs that, just want to wait for a story point, milestone, if I was sitting in a group and my group did what my group of soloist players did, and they would have earned 500 XP points, fine, I'm giving myself 500 XP points. It's your game. It's not like the internet police going to knock on your door and say, you're doing it wrong, Anthony, you're doing it wrong. You have to do it this way. As long as you are having fun, who cares? Exactly. You see what I mean?
And even if you cheat, it's a lot easier to get caught.
Yeah. And if you just keep yourself,
yeah, I'm going up a level.
I mean, if that's what works for you, I mean, that's the way I see it. If you're cheating, you're only cheating yourself anyway. So yeah.
So my question is, what is the biggest misconception about playing an RPG alone that you hear from people that don't normally do it?
Actually, I don't think I have that problem, because everybody in the group seems to get a good grasp on playing solo RPG. All I had to do, my problem was just breaking that mindset. Like you guys, I'm old school, playing around the table, slinging real dice. How do you play a game solo? I literally had to train myself. Like I said, I can sit here and talk about solo RPGs till I'm blue in the face, but until you sit down and try it yourself and figure it out. Michael Jordan can sit there and talk till he's blue in the face and tell you how to be a great basketball player. but you're not going to be that great basketball player till you get out on the court and start throwing that basketball. So the only way you're going to get good at solo RPGing usually is to sit down and figure it out. Now when I started, there was almost nothing out there. Now there's so much information. You have a reverse problem. You got information overload.
All right. So I went down the rabbit hole. Like I said, I have zero to none experience solo RPG, right? So when I knew you were coming on, I went down the rabbit hole, started just doing my research. So I have some personal misconceptions, or you could tell me whether they're misconceptions or not. All right, the first one I saw on Reddit from multiple people was that solo RPGs are only dungeon crawls. Is that true or false?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Proof positive, like I said, go watch Me, Myself, and Die. He does dungeon crawls. He does city things. He spent whole sessions where it's just story. One type of D&D play that I didn't get to do a lot of was hex crawls. So I pretty much take every system I have and at least try to convert it to a hex crawl. So, I mean, there's no hex crawl rules in the Cipher rule book. I've already got some already in my head, and I've already been implementing them. In this little journal, I have my first foray into playing Cypher System with my, what do I have here? I have a sharp-eyed explorer who fights dirty.
Nice.
He just got captured.
Cool.
He just got captured, but he has earned 3 experience points. Now, normally when I play an RPG, I usually start with 1 character just to make sure I can see how easy the system is. Cypher System was so easy, and I figured since my dude got captured, it's time to bring in another character. So my next scene will be introducing, I haven't given him or her a name yet, but stealing ideas out of God's the Fall, a creative shaper who masters spells. So now I can see how the spellcasting rules work and try both options out and see how it works for me.
Speaking of which, that leads me into my second misconception I jotted down. There is no RP in solo play. Is that true or false?
Well, I guess that depends on you, because for me, I just have the story going in my head. Now, someone like Trevor Duvall, for Me, Myself, and Die, since he's producing a video, he'll throw out his own, RPG conversations amongst the PCs. And if he has a question, well, is this a friendly NPC? Is this guy going to be nice or not nice? Oh, Mythic just told me no. Oh, this is going to be a bad encounter. Oh, what's the encounter going to be about? Oh, ambush trap. Oh, dude's setting a trap for me. Someone's setting a trap up for me. I didn't know that 2 seconds ago, but until I grabbed the cards, the story is already starting to develop.
Al, are you writing down the questions from chat so we can ask? And here's the last one this one I got a lot, Donald. Like when I was on Reddit, Facebook, this one I saw a lot. There is no difference between a choose your own adventure book and a solo RPG. Is that true or false?
That is 100% false. Choose your own adventure. You're limited to what they print in the book. Solo RPG, I can play any genre, any story, anything you can come up with, you can play solo RPG. I was listening to one of your videos and you mentioned Killer Clowns in Outer Space. Go find me a Killer Clowns in Outer Space pick-a-path book. You can't. But if you wanted to play Killer Clowns in Outer Space and you wanted to play the Cypher System, go grab you those books or grab you the Mythic, and you, Anthony, can have your Killer Clowns in Outer Space.
Yeah, I'm an improver. I could make anything work. I also have 30 years experience in gaming. There's not a setting or genre that I'm not scared to tackle. So I could definitely make it work.
I know you can. Plus, like I said, you're a hard-headed New Yorker. You'll figure it out one way or another.
Ooh, but now that we tackled some of those misconceptions, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but you've recently started getting into Cypher System. So what do you think? Let's talk about that a little more. What do you think of the system, and how does it handle solo play?
Oh, it handles solo play great. Prior to my exposure to the Cypher system, if I was to come up with a top five, three games that would definitely be in that top five are Dungeon World, Simba Room, and Iron Sworn. Those three games have something in common with the Cypher system, and that is the DM does not roll any dice. So from the solo perspective, half your work's already done. Number two, what is the number one secret that all DMs need to have in their pocket? It's simple. The DM's one and only job, besides the narrative aspect, is to come up with a target number. If you look at the Cypher system, that's exactly what it is. Let's go back to any version of D&D, crack open the monster manual and read it. And if you look at it at the matrix level, what is it telling you? Here, DM, here's how you figure out a target number. I want to hit the guy, armor class, 10, plus dex, plus shield, plus miscellaneous bonuses. Oh, it's a Medusa that's going to turn me to stone. What's the DC? Oh, it's 10 plus half hit die plus appropriate modifier. All that giant stat block just to give you a number. Well, I could take any monster manual now and convert it to the Cypher system just like that. Oh, it's that simple. 90% of that work that you have to do as the DM is tossed out the window. How hard can that be?
That's definitely great points. I didn't actually think about that in regards to the systems where, like Cypher system, where the GM doesn't roll dice, and in regards to solo play, it does take away a lot of that work. Instead of rolling two sets of dice, you just roll into one. What you call it? Our buddy Mike in the chat here has a great follow-up question for this question. What about GMIs or GM intrusions and player intrusions within solo play? Do they still work out well? Do you use them? Is it just something you like? Yeah.
Yeah, I have used them. Most solo systems have a method of creating a random event. Well, for me, that random event is the GMI intrusion.
Okay.
And that was prior to me getting more help. Now I got more help. I mean, I look at, now I got the GM intrusion deck. Let's just say I happen to have my Mythic in front of me. And sometimes those prompts you get from Mythic, you sit there and go, I can't make sense out of this. Nothing happens. I don't have that problem anymore because now all I can do is, I'm in the middle of combat. The foe's combat style meshes well with that of another adjacent foe, using both of their attacks against any PC while they remain near each other. I just created a narrative by drawing a card.
That's awesome. You also have the asset deck, which is one of my favorite decks of all time.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Oh, if you are a subscriber to my YouTube channel, I love my cards because, I'm one of those guys that if I'm not doing something, my hands gonna need to be doing something. So even if I'm just playing, I'm sitting there shuffling the cards, waiting for that next time I get to draw a card to see what happens next and see how the story develops.
You sort of answered this, but you mentioned a couple of systems that work really well for solo play, but what is your absolute favorite? If you had to pick one system and then say, hey, this is almost designed for solo play, what would be your favorite system?
I'm gonna sit there and ask you, Anthony, are you trying to give me a trick question? Should I be uttering Cipher?
No, we love honesty. You can name any.
We Cipher heads, but we all polygamers here. We'll play everything.
Exactly.
Hold on.
Is he reaching
I
for a
happen
book?
to have a small library next to me just in case of reference. World Without Number.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Because not only is the system easy, I mean, you look at this thick book, only like a sliver of it is actual rules. The rest of it is world building.
Yeah.
I haven't checked that book out. I've heard so much about it. I really should.
World Without Number is an awesome game.
Here, I won't give you another hint, and everybody else, you do it too. Go to Drive-Thru RPG. The main PDF is free.
Oh.
You can
Good to know.
go get there's like I guess a deluxe version, but it only adds like 40 extra pages. It has some extra stuff in the back, but all the important stuff, the stuff you would probably want as a soloist, even if you don't like the system, but you just want to create your own random fantasy world. Literally, like all that is free.
I gotta check that out. That sounds awesome. Amazing. But moving along here. So we know you've tried Cypher System. You've played it. You're enjoying it. Have you tried any of the many different settings that MCG has produced, like Numenera, Predation, Stars of Fire? And if you have, which one is your favorite? Oh, you already whipped it out. The fantasy stuff, good stuff.
Oh, God forsaken, God of the Fall.
Well,
Good
actually,
choice.
I've been reading the Gods of the Fall setting, and I was thinking of either playing a non-divine character in that setting. There's that group that hunts down the ones that get the divine spark. I was thinking about doing that. That was like if this campaign here comes to a bitter end anytime shortly, that would be my next foray into doing because I'm primarily a fantasy guy.
Gotcha.
But one of the reasons why the Cypher system has moved up in my mind is if I ever decide to branch out, I got supers covered, I got space covered, if I want to do Dracula in America, I got that covered. If, any setting, I've literally looked through all my books that have off the wall hard settings. Okay, this book right here.
Donald, you got Tolis for Cypher System?
I haven't got Tolis yet.
Because that's the holy trinity of Cypher fantasy. God,
Oh yeah, I know.
God forsaken, Gods of Fall. You got to get Tolis. Then you have the holy
Hey,
trinity.
look, honestly, I just got into the Cypher system like a month and a half, 2 months ago. I can't be spending that much money that fast.
That is facts.
Especially since the Tolis book's what, like 130, 140?
That's a beefy book though. Wait, do I have time? Oh, it's hidden. That thing is that's a monster of a book right there.
I don't know if I have my Tolis Bible.
So Anthony, next one.
Next one.
All right, we're getting close.
Uh-oh.
So what can we look forward to from the solo RPG guy in the future? Do you have any links you want to share? How can our audience find you on social media? Where can you be found on the interwebs? And then after you answer this, we'll take some questions from the audience.
So yeah, I can be found on YouTube as the solo RPG guy, or you can go to the solo RPG Facebook group on Facebook. Those are my two. I don't do the Twitters and the Instagrams and that kind of stuff. I'm too many social medias to keep up with. So, I mean, I didn't even expect, to be this popular. Like 4 or 5 days ago, my little YouTube channel finally crossed the 2,000 subscriber mark. And I know in the grand scheme of YouTube, that's nothing. But as we mentioned before, we're in a niche of a niche of a niche. So to have that many subscribers, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah.
Congrats, man. First of all, I binge watched a lot of your videos. You do actually great stuff. Even when Dean, you hit up Dean first, and Dean was like, "Hey, this channel solo RPG guy." I was like, I have to watch this. Usually we're not going to bring anybody on that we don't think produces content that's in line with what we do. So I went and watched all your stuff. And I was like, oh, these videos are freaking awesome. And I've never played solo RPG, but you made me super interested in it. That's what I was saying on our Discord chat today. I was saying, hey, I'm really excited for this combo because, this is a topic that I don't know much about, and I'm really, interested in. So yeah, your videos are awesome. You definitely deserve the 2,000. Hope you get 5,000. Hope you get 10,000 because you putting out great videos.
Most definitely. But yeah, that was the end of our main line of questioning from us. We do have a couple questions from the audience though. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Where is it? So let's go ahead and dive into a couple of these. Lilobi, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, asks, is there a particular GM emulator product that you recommend specifically for Cipher?
I would recommend two. The first one I would recommend, I know this is going to sound weird, go get yourself the Ironsworn game. One, the PDF is free. Two, it gives you, based using their mechanics, how to play the game. But let's say you don't like these mechanics. I don't know if it'll show up very well, but in here is literally a ton of helpful charts that if you suffer the mind blank, you got everything, you got the basics to start right then and there. If you had no money, you had your Cypher System book, but you had no money to spend on this stuff, the wife, got you on a short leash, go to drive-through, get this book, read through it, and just look through the charts and go watch season 2 of Me, Myself, and Die, where he actually plays this game, and just remove Ironsworn mechanics and insert Cipher mechanics, and you're good to go.
That's actually awesome. I actually don't own that book. I'm purchasing that today.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into it as well.
All right, so I guess drive-through should send me some money, I guess, if y'all will get the Ironsworn and World Without. Oh wait, they're free. I guess I won't make any money.
And what was the second? You said there were two.
There was 3. Dean asked, have you ever used the Chaos emulator?
If he's referring to the emulator, that's the second. That's the one I was getting ready to talk about. Number 2 would be the Chaos emulator in Drive-Thru RPG. I've read it. I've never actually used it, only because the stuff that's already in there, I already have in some way, shape, or form with other systems. And 30 years experience, I can. Hold on. See this notebook? See how thick it is? You know what this is? Nothing but charts. Iron or Forbidden Land, the Universal NPC emulator, the paper stuff that accompanies the Adventure Crafter. I mean, literally over the years, as I fiddle around with stuff, I added to there. I would add the Chaos emulator. I just have one problem with it. He put that colored background on there. It's not printer friendly. It's going to cost me an arm and a leg and ink just to print it out.
Oh, it's awesome that you have that little document. That's amazing.
Yeah, I actually wanted to sit over your shoulder one day when you play so I can get a better grasp of how it actually works.
Well, like I said, Me, Myself, and Die. Go watch him, and not only is he a professional voice actor and he's got the awesome setup, he's got 30 years of gaming experience. Even if you're not interested in solo RPG, you'll just enjoy listening to the story.
Nice.
There was one more question, Al. You want to actually...
And then one more question we got here from our buddy Mike, or Stormbringer. He asks, is there a setting that is harder to solo than others?
Setting? No, not really. I mean, at least not for me. But then again, not everybody has, 30 years experience. Someone who just cracked open their first RPG book last week, they might have problems. But like I said, I can sit here. If I want to play Ironsworn, if I don't want to use the Ironsworn mechanics, I want to use the Cipher mechanics, I can do that. If I wanted to play and Scarlet Heroes, which is probably the second most popular game that you can buy straight out the book that's designed for solo. I can play in this setting just as easily as this grim dark setting.
Donald, is this a safe assessment to say that narrative-based RPGs actually work better for solo play than, say, the more mechanic-heavy ones?
I would say definitely. Like I said, 3rd edition, I haven't cracked open a book in 10 years, but I have that whole rule set memorized because that was the big jam. But even with all that experience with 3rd edition underneath my belt, there's just too many little variables to keep track of. because let's say I'm a 5th level dude. I don't know if you are familiar with 3rd edition mechanics, but let's say I come across a fighter and it's going to devolve into combat. Well, now I got to stop, get out of my narrative, pull out the character sheet and draw up that 5th level fighter. Remember, oh wait, is he human? Is he gets the extra feet? Oh wait, he gets the extra bonus feet. Oh, his skills kind of suck. Okay, now I've pulled myself away from the narrative to make this dude. But at the same time, if I don't make the dude completely, I feel like I've cheated myself.
Yeah.
So, like we mentioned before,
be impossible to do.
Yeah, so like the game like Cipher, like I said, all we got to do is come up with it. Oh, this is a level 3 dude. Okay, he's a little tougher on the attack. So, okay, level 4. Oh, he's a big, slow-moving guy. So, he's level 3 as far as beating him over the head. I'm done. I can take any monster. Here's another game no one's ever heard of. Elemental. You have it?
I have not. I said I haven't.
In here is their entire monster manual. I can get inspiration out of here and come up with any monster and literally have it in Cypher System mechanics in like what, 2-3 minutes at most. I'm not pulled away from the narrative. And if it's something that's not going to pop up in my narrative, I don't have to worry about it. But in a game like Dungeon Dragons, where you got to keep track of oh wait, I gave these 5th level, he should have a belt of giant strength. Oh, great. Now I have to change the strength score. That's going to change the hit. It's going to change the damage. It's going to change the skills, blah, blah, blah. And then if you don't do it, like I said, you feel like you cheated. If you do it, you're spending a half hour away from the game when you could have been playing.
Super Slash asked a great question in chat just now. Do you have any problems not metagaming in the game?
If there is a situation where I think I'm metagaming, then in that case, I will let Mythic, or basically what we call an oracle, answer the question for me. Does my character know this particular fact for whatever reason? Because trust me, one of the reasons why sometimes I have a hard time finding a group is I always seem to come across the power gamers, the metagamers, the cheaters, the kind of people you don't even want in your house, let alone around a gaming table. So,
it sounds like you need to get some groups going within the Cypher Unlimited community. Not to toot our own horn, but those kind of gamers are hard to come by within this community.
There's another good question. Are there any digital tools like D&D Beyond you use for solo play?
I'm old school. I used to live on the computer the whole time. So when it came to solo RPG, the last thing I ever wanted was a piece of electronic equipment in the way. That's why you keep seeing me reaching down and grabbing stuff, because I like my books. And the closest thing I might, scroll through a PDF while I'm sitting in my chair reading about it. But when I'm actually playing, it's books, pens, paper, and my cards.
Super Slash said that's a great answer, by the way. They taking notes.
Take good notes. I have as many notebooks as I have RPG books here, just keeping track of all the campaigns. That's why I had to start getting slim ones, because the thick ones were taking up too much space.
Yeah. I think, is that everything from the chat, Al?
Yeah.
So, this is the part where, first of all, thank you for answering. I think we've all learned a lot. I know I can't speak for the audience, but I can speak for myself. I actually learned a lot. There's a couple of books I just jotted down that I have to pick up. And I really like the idea about letting the cards or letting whatever emulator you're using decide, prevent you from metagaming. I thought that was a phenomenal answer. But, those were all the easy questions. This is the part where we dig. You ready for this? We dig deep into your soul, right? We pull out your essence. We stretch it on the table for the whole world to see. These are all world famous rapid fire questions. I'm sorry they're not solo play.
That's okay.
Related, but you should be able to answer these pretty easily nonetheless. So are you ready for our rapid fire questions, Donald?
I got my shield. I got my sword. I'm braced. Shoot.
And then here we go. First one, player or GM?
as much as I would like to be a player, I usually wind up being the GM, whether I want to or not. 10-year long group session, I think I was the DM 4.5 years, and that's with like 8 different DMs over the course. So you figure at least half the time I was DMing.
Pull punches or TPK?
None of the above. It's let the dice fall where they may. If you're stupid and you do the wrong things and the dice say, well, you got to die, you got to die. Taking this back to solo play, I play until I complete the story arc or the character dies. It's safe to say that 75% of my campaigns have ended due to character death.
Oof. All right, next one.
So your campaigns could become one-shots on the first day, right?
That's hilarious. But online or in-person gaming?
Between the two, obviously in person. I've only played actually online once. And because I'm old school, I'm used to being around the table and slinging real dice. I felt disconnected. Rolling the digital dice, that didn't feel right. Plus, you feed off each other's energy, and you get that energy better when you're actually sitting face to face. Plus, realize that 90% of all communication is nonverbal. You can say one thing, but if your body's telling me something else, well, then if I'm the GM, I got to either, I got to read you in order to solve the problem. Kind of hard to do that online.
We'll definitely invite you to an online game, though, if you want to play. Announce the difficulty number or keep it a secret?
All the time. I keep it a secret. Never tell them anything. If their character don't know it, I don't tell it.
Good answer. Salty or sweet snacks at the gaming table?
All the above. All the above.
A man after my own heart. RP or combat?
50-50.
What?
We got a politician here. Politician alert.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one, but PDFs or physical books?
I know the answer to this one.
Why are you even asking? I'm a dead tree kind of guy. Dead tree, all the way. I'll tell you a funny story. When we were running, I was working at a real estate office, and we took over the conference room, and that's where we played. I looked like a traveling man because I had 2 full book bags with books, a backpack, a mat case, and a fishing tackle box with the miniatures and everything else that we could have used. So trust me, yes, dead tree all the way.
Nice.
Pen and paper notes or digital?
Pen and paper. Pen and paper.
Have you ever done any digital notes? Just curious.
Again, I felt disconnected. That was just me. It's a whole lot easier to drop a die and then jot down a quick sentence on the paper. Okay, this is a friendly. His name is this, and the cards say engineer, friendly, jovial. Engineer. Okay, it's probably a thief. Boom. Move on.
And lastly, pre-written adventures or original content?
99.999% original content. And given today's day and age, I'll probably bump it over to the 100% because, back in the old days, it was hard, but nowadays, all they got to do is look down, see the name of your module, and then they just go online and type it in. And before you know it, they know all the secrets. I actually have caught cheaters that way because I will change something that's in the adventure and they'll go, that's not supposed to be in this room. This is supposed to be the room that's got the 3 kobolds. I'm like, why do you say that? Well, I saw the adventure. I went and got the PDF on it. Well, yeah. So, and plus when you look, what's that new D&D? There's a new D&D starter set coming out, and I forget what it's called, but it has the word Stormwreck on it. There's already reviews, previews, and everything else online. Why run that? Because everyone's going to know what's in it. Off mine a fan delta. I've never owned nothing. Go ahead.
Personally, I think that if you want a pre-written adventure, you're supposed to hack the crap out of that anyway. You're not supposed, I would never run a pre-written adventure as is. because one is not interesting for the GM. You know,
Exactly.
But that's a story for another day. But, just quick question: have you ever run a pre-written adventure solo? Is that something you can do? Like
I've never done it. I've never done it, but I have heard of other people doing it. I forget the guy's name, but he had a YouTube channel and he came up with a method of running pre-written adventures, but he did it the opposite way. He was the GM and his emulator system emulated the PC.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, I didn't quite, understand everything he was saying, but I was like, that's an interesting concept. And one day I might dip my toe into that, but yeah.
That's pretty clever.
People are out there doing it.
you
People
learn
are out there
something
doing
new.
it. So obviously it can be done.
You survived our rapid fire questions. A round of applause for Donald, solo RPG guy.
How many experience points did I earn? How many?
It's milestone level,
Yeah.
dude. You just went up a level.
You level up next interview. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Next year. All right.
or next time you come on to play with us or something like that, maybe guide us through a solo session or something like that.
I mean, this was awesome. I learned a whole lot today, and I'm actually gonna give it a try, Donald.
Same.
If it's a horrible experience, it's all your fault. If you read an obituary that I jumped out my window, it's Donald's fault.
Oh man.
Ooh, but yeah, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I know we asked this a little earlier, but just to reiterate, because I always like to ask at the end, how can people catch your stuff online? Is it just the YouTube and the Facebook?
Yep, just YouTube and the Facebook. I don't do the Twitters and the Instagram. There's just too many. Matter of fact, here's a secret for you, and this is all your guys' fault. I was a member of one Discord channel for the longest time, but I never, logged into it. But ever since I got onto y'all's Discord, not only am I in there a lot, but I'm actually playing for the first time a play-by-post game with people I met from that group.
Nice.
That's what we do it for. We want people to play together. We want people to. That is so awesome to hear.
Yes.
Oh, and I got another little story for you too. When I first got into the Cypher system, I posted in my Facebook group, and of course there was all these little responses of people. Oh, that looks interesting. Blah blah blah. I happened to be on your Discord, and a guy mentioned that he was playing it solo. So I was like, hey, what emulator are you using? I just wanted to start up a conversation to see what, in case they came up with something new. And the guy goes, hey, Donald, it's Jonathan from the Facebook group. I'm here because of you. And I was like, oh, well, and I know you guys like spreading the word for the Cypher system. I said, okay, I guess I did my due. I at least brought in one.
I actually saw that happen in real time. I saw that chat happen in real time. It's so cool.
That is so awesome. Not only are people gaming together, like I said, I'm gonna dip my toe with solo play. I'll let you guys know how it is.
Well, you've already got me on the Discord. You've already got me on your Discord, so you can just go ahead. If you have a question, hey, you can consider yourself special. Not too many people get some one-on-one training.
Ooh. Oh,
Yeah.
You heard that, Al? I'm special. You always say I'm not special. Donald just back me up. I'm special.
But
He rides the short bus.
definitely super interested in diving into solo play. I have been thinking about it a lot because I started a new job about a month ago with super laid back. It's retail cashier, and I have a lot of downtime, a lot. So I could see myself doing like a little quick burst solo here and there, because I actually did run a solo like battle simulator. Like I simulated like a tower defense type situation using dice and stuff, and I did that while I was at work. So if I could do that, I think I could do some solo play, like actual solo play.
Well, I know you're a Cipher head. You pretty much got the Cypher system memorized, and of course,
Yeah.
It's so simple. Who couldn't have it memorized?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll probably sneak a D20 in and a pencil and a piece of paper, and you'll be good to go.
It's not even sneaking. I have it all out on the tape. They don't care. They're chill.
Well, then just go grab you your emulator of choice and knock yourself out.
That's where I'm going to be coming to you for more personalized advice.
So all I gotta say to wrap this up, if you into solo play or if you just into really cool video contests about RPGs, check out the Solo RPG guy on YouTube. There's excellent content, great videos. Like I said, I went down that rabbit hole over the week and I've been immersed in his videos. Great quality stuff. Or if you also want to find advice on playing solo RPGs, join his Facebook group. It's rather large, and I'm sure there's going to be multiple people there to help you out on your journey of solo play, because that's what I plan to do. And last but not least, thank you, Donald, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, I just fell in love with y'all's videos, fell in love with the people on Discord, and I just shot that one little message, and here we are. Here we are.
Yep, here we are. If you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord server. We're the largest family on Discord server for all things Monica games. There's games being talked about for all the settings. There's games being played every day. If Discord's not for you, join our Facebook group. It's not as big as our Discord, but there's great discussions being had. If you find it in the kindness of your heart, go to our YouTube channel and like, share, subscribe there. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs there. We really appreciate it if you help us out. Or give us a follow here or subscribe on Twitch. Our videos are always free, but we really appreciate it nonetheless. Give us a donation on Ko-fi if you want to support us financially in any way. Helps us out with little things like Zoom calls. Or go to our online store and pick up some cool Cypher Unlimited merch like the hat I got on. Last but not least, we love you guys.
Yep. Thank you guys again so much for stopping by and watching. It was a great discussion. I definitely learned a lot about solo play. And again, thank you, Donald, for coming on, talking to us about that. Definitely going to be hitting you up in private for some more tips because I'm definitely very interested in this. But yeah, as usual, thank you guys again. And from us at the CU, we will see you later.